Claustrophobia is an anxiety disorder where someone has a fear of small or enclosed spaces. People may experience it on underground transport due to the confined space, lack of natural light, and the possibility of not being able to escape easily. Claustrophobia can trigger panic attacks in some people, which can cause symptoms such as rapid heart rate, sweating, and shortness of breath. To overcome fear of traveling on underground trains, people can try desensitization techniques such as exposure therapy. Exposure therapy for claustrophobia is about entering the environment in a controlled way while using deep breathing exercises. A good CBT therapist can help coach people through exposure therapy. There are two different approaches to exposure therapy for phobias: flooding and graded hierarchy. The flooding approach involves exposing the person to the feared situation all at once, while the graded hierarchy approach involves gradually exposing the person to increasingly challenging situations related to the phobia. In flooding, the idea is to create a sense of overwhelming exposure to the feared stimulus, which can lead to desensitization and reduction or elimination of the feared response. This approach can be effective for some people, but it can also be very intense and overwhelming, so it's not for everyone. An example of the flooding approach might be staying 4 hours on an underground train, despite this situation being terrifying for you. In the graded hierarchy approach, the person is exposed to increasingly challenging situations related to the phobia with the goal of gradually building up the tolerance and reducing their anxiety. This approach can be more gradual and less overwhelming, which can make it more accessible for some people. An example might be going on an underground train once a week, increasing the duration each time you go. The duration of exposure therapy for fear of underground travel can vary depending on the severity of the phobia and the individual themselves. This may take several sessions, ranging from a few weeks to several months, but in a few cases where individuals have been highly motivated, I've treated them completely in just a few hours. If you have a fear of underground travel, whatever you do, don't avoid it. Don't use distractions and don't use short-term methods to try to reduce your anxiety. Exposure to the situation will always help if you engage in it completely.